vengeance and furious anger. Those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers.
An undeniable classic of slick dialogue, wild situations, and unforgettable outcomes, Pulp Fiction is a film that fires on all cylinders and earns its masterpiece status every single time you revisit it. To really appreciate the ending though, I gotta say, you have to look at the film through Jules' eyes. Because even though the film jumps around through time, across characters, Jules is the only one who actually grows, who actually transforms in this. I mean, Marcellus Wallace probably changes in a way he wishes he never did, but overall, everyone else just survives the chaos. But Jules, he evolves because of it. Side note, there will be spoilers ahead as we go through the ending scene to really help illustrate how great this character is and the story as a whole. We'll be adding in moments from the main story to help break down the scene and the true depth of the Jules character. You've been warned. We open with a slow, contemplative dolly in on Jules as he absorbs his own words and his new worldview he's trying to live by. A man trying to be good, coming from a life where nobody is. Because, you see, the story started with Vince and Jules. Jules, played by Samuel L. Jackson, and Vincent by John Travolta. Two hitmen working for Marcellus Wallace on their way to retrieve a mysterious briefcase stolen by a group of amateur idiots who thought they could treat Marcellus Wallace like a bitch.
Describe what Marcellus Wallace looks like. Does he look like a bitch? No! Then why you try to fuck him like a bitch, Brent? He didn't. Yes, you did. Yes, you.
Because they tried to play Marcellus Wallace dirty, they ended up on the losing side of a Caps battle they weren't prepared for. But there was one guy who actually was kind of prepared, and he came out blasting. The problem is, God doesn't like that guy at all, so he missed every single shot. To Jules, this is an epiphany, a moment of clarity and self-reflection. The kind you'd only get when death is staring you in the face and suddenly everything in life becomes painfully simple. And it's never fully established what Jules plans to really do next, but he knows one thing for certain, that the life he's currently living is not the one he's meant for. And that brings us to the scene in question, back in the same restaurant where the movie began, the entire story folding in on itself brilliantly. So, like any good God, there comes a time where you need to test your disciples to see if they're ready for the next stage. You're praying, but unfortunately, it's right next to a Scandinavian college that's basically a no shirts required campus. Anyway, that's where Honey Bunny and Pumpkin explode back into frame.
Everybody be cool, this is a robbery!
In a split second, the camera switches from smooth, stable motion into chaotic handheld, the visual language matching the panic ripping through the room. And in the chaos, we get a perfect moment, a glimpse of Jules snacking, calmly, unshaken, maybe even slightly annoyed that somebody just ruined his meal, or his day, his morning. By now, we know exactly what Jules is. And what is Jules? What is he capable of? What kind of man is he?
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more goddamn time.
Right. A man not to be fucked with. This wide shot from Jules' perspective is pretty rock solid, perfectly composed, the world crumbling around while he sits still. Pumpkin, I think, can feel this. He notices Jules isn't reacting the same way a normal victim should, so he steps closer, gun inches from Jules' face, trying to desperately reclaim dominance. But Jules just stares at him. He cuts through Pumpkin, past the gun into his very soul. It's kind of an unnerving shot. Look at this man's face. Now, if it's been a while since you last seen the film, Marvin was the associate of Marcellus Wallace, whose head gets blown off by Vincent accidentally in the car, which is why Jules is wearing the outrageous t-shirt he's wearing. So that t-shirt, it looks like Quentin tried to sneak in a subtle foreshadowing with it. It's the Crazy Cat comic strip. Now, this is before my time, way before my time. But it's a chaotic love triangle between a cat, a mouse, and a cop. Yeah, weird. Everyone's chasing, everyone's confused, and everyone's a little crazy. And much like that comic, everyone in this diner, at least the main cast, is a little crazy. and we're about to witness our own insane three-way play out. Tarantino, being the master of suspense that he is, he slows the scene to a crawl. Pumpkin's eyes drift toward the briefcase, that mystical object glowing like it contains the literal meaning of life. I want to know what it is. I want to know. Tell us. But nobody ever does.
What's in the case?
My boss's dirty laundry.
Your boss makes you do his laundry?
So back to Jules, a waist-up shot, calm, unfazed, even a slight downward angle, which normally is a position of power to be looking down on the weak, still doesn't shake his composure. To him, it's like asking what are a couple flies to a vulture. Non-comparable. Even the sound design tightens up, the room tone drops, Honey Bunny's screams fade away. It's just Jules and Pumpkin locked in.
Open it.
Afraid I can't do that.
I didn't hear you.
Yes, you did.
That comeback? Yes, you did? Bro, that's fucking rude. Saying that to somebody who has a gun to your face. But that's who Jules is. That's how Jules is designed. Written as this unfazable character. Except for true miracles. But yeah, this is what happens when a hyena meets a lion. Okay, enough with the animal references. Basically saying that you might be dangerous, but you're not the king of the jungle. You don't own this area. And Jules makes that very clear later on, directly to their faces. I really appreciate Quentin's comedy style. You can see it in some other films, but you see it bleed straight into the moments like this in this frame, which begins to echo the Crazy Cats panel a little bit, kinda. Honey Bunny is trapped between two immovable pillars. Jules on one side, the Pumpkin on the other, and she's losing her mind. It's honestly hilarious. But then Quentin starts a countdown.
Now I'm going to count to 3. If you don't open that case, I'm going to unload in your fucking face. We clear? 1. 2. 3.
Okay, Ringo.
Normally, countdowns in movies feel cheap. Marvel abuses them to death. But this one works. You feel it. You expect the gun to go off or Jules' gun to go off, but instead, Jules' first move is to throw his hands up. Very suddenly, very sharply, it kind of throws the audience off for a second. Where's the gun though? Tucked away. We already knew Jules had a gun on him, but the reveal or lack thereof the reveal to push it back just adds another layer of tension on top of the tension. Keeps the whole interaction shrouded in a shadow for the audience of when and how it's really going to go down and end. Finally, Jules makes his move, taking control very easily, suddenly. Even when he's yelling, there's a calmness to the way he's giving his orders.
You let him go! You let him go! Let go of it!
Tell that bitch to be cool.
I'm gonna kill you!
Say, bitch, be cool.
Be cool, honey.
Say, bitch, be cool. Tell that fucking bitch to chill.
If you've noticed, we haven't had any true close-ups of Jules until now. Because now, he means business. Even when he raises his voice, the power, not panic. Honey Bunny, on the other side, has the high angle. Sure, but again, she does not have the control. This triangle formation, just to really send home everything, Jules at the point, the apex of it, the spine of the scene, he's the most solid point of that triangle.
You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Okay, now you let him go!
Yolanda.
And then we have the emotional turn. Honey Bunny is like a child.
You just hang back and don't do a goddamn thing. Tell her we still cool.
Still cool, honey bunny.
How we doing, baby?
I gotta go pee. I'm gonna go home.
Terrified. Vincent pops back into frame. You almost forget he was even in the scene to begin with, which is definitely by design. He represents Jules's old life, chaos of violence, the life Jules is trying desperately to walk away from. But in front of him stands Pumpkin and Honey Bunny, the new life, the test, the Scandinavian college girls. Because Jules knows if he kills them, He kills the new version of himself he's trying to become. It's a tug of war between who he was and who he hopes to be. And I'd like to believe, maybe you'd like to believe, that after this moment, Pumpkin and Honey Bunny, Ringo and Yolanda, whatever you want to call them, might have had their own epiphany and chosen a better path. Finally, after a long explanation of the Ezekiel verse, which, by the way, isn't even the actual verse. It's not the correct one. They rewrote it for the movie. Regardless, it still works. Anyways, Jules lowers his gun, asks Vincent to do the same, and he lets them go. Not because they earned it, because they definitely did not, but because he needs to give it. Jules is basically all of us trying to get our life together. A messy past, terrible decisions, hanging around people we should have blocked years ago, and suddenly deciding, you know what? Maybe I should stop being a menace to society. And somehow he pulls it off. Vincent, on the other hand, Vincent is what happens when you learn nothing from your near-death experiences, ignore every sign from the universe to get your stuff together, and treat miracles like background noises. Life keeps giving him warnings, and he keeps hitting snooze until he doesn't wake up. And that's it for the video. If you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, share this out with someone who would love it. And until next time, what do you recommend?